Just hanging out. Just running a slideshow. Probably seen most of these images before. I've been working on ebooks. I've got a couple of them in my prophecy book and what was the other one? The You Are All One book. Finally working, and I just finished the Gift New Testament today. I haven't put it up anywhere, but I'm thinking I might go that direction, and also that since if I go that way, I might be able to update things more often. The only thing I'm likely to update is maybe the New Testament, because sometimes I think I have certain rules in mind when I did that, and sometimes I'm like, you know what, I could just really put it in slang if I wanted to, but I don't know. Hey, concerned citizen. Yep, just hanging out, not much going on that I care to watch. It's usually, if I do a search on, excuse me, live Bible hangouts, Bible related, you get all kinds of stuff if you just type Bible and live, stuff that isn't the Bible at all. But a lot of it's Hebrew roots. A lot of it is Bible virgins idolatry. A lot of it is people who have zero interest in the Christian faith, just going on and on about, setting Christians straight about the Bible, like my last video. Or just, making up whatever they want it to mean because it's cool. Hey, Rhonda. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just kind of thinking out loud, and you especially, Rhonda, the Gift New Testament that I did, thinking about maybe I should update it. Book of Treasures, why left out. I don't even know that I've heard of Book of Treasures. As far as things left out of the Bible, first people have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that it was ever in there, or should have been. Book of Enoch, I have read First Enoch. Well, I've read all three, but the second and third are just too ridiculous to even consider. And the thing about, okay, a Book of Adam and Eve. I've just vague things about those. I don't know much about them, but Enoch I've read. And the thing is that there's no book of Enoch. The book of Jasher is mentioned in the Bible, but no book of Enoch. Enoch himself, the seventh from Adam, is mentioned, but not that he wrote a book. Jasher, though, is mentioned several times as is it not written in the book of Jasher, which is not somebody's name. It's the Book of the Righteous or something like that, it means. Sorry about the raspy voice. I've had a nasty headache all day. Finally took some Advil. But yeah, I don't know. The thing about books that should or shouldn't have been in the Bible is the Bible doesn't try to contain all books that are true or accurate, but all the books it contains are true and accurate. And they have a purpose. It's like with the series I did on, and I have a playlist on the covenants. I think that's really the point of the Bible, is those covenants and kingdoms. And why should other things be in there that don't have anything to do with that? I mean, I don't think anybody's trying to hide really important things by leaving out Enoch or Adam and Eve book or anything like that. It might be interesting history and it might even be true, but why should it be in the Bible? See, because the Bible's purpose is to, not even on the barest surface level, is to tell us how we got here, what went wrong with it, and the long road back to reconciliation with God, without God operating us like puppets, which is a fine balance to achieve, but that's what the Bible's pretty much about, and what to expect in the future. which of course includes how God's going to make everything right again. But the thing is that knowing that purpose, I'm not sure why so many books are cited as things that should have been in the Bible and were taken out to hide something. I've been in conspiracy realm for a long time, and I think if you spend all your time there and don't come out of it, sometimes you kind of get paranoid. I have no doubt that true history is hidden as far as, individual secular histories of countries are written by the victors and all that. But if, as we believe and are convinced, the Bible is something different and supernaturally provided, then that's something I don't think God would let hide. Giants are in the Bible, Nephilim are in the Bible. As far as secular historical evidence, yeah, lots have been buried. Of course, the flood's purpose was to bury the past also, because it was corrupt. And we're discovering that things that are buried are indicating at least a level of technology that we have today existed before the flood. So, it might be just an indication that we've come full circle. I'm sure there's a lot of interesting thing, even in just the most day-to-day stuff, not just history, but stuff that happens day-to-day. We don't know what's really happening. So it is being hidden, but I'm not sure how important that is in the grand scheme of things as far as knowing our purpose and destiny and all that sort of thing. So it's kind of it depends on which angle you're viewing the whole thing from as to what, is really hidden. But anyway, yeah, just, random stuff. I'm just sitting here with my raspy voice and just kind of between don't want to start anything and kind of early to go to bed. But like I said, I've been working on making ebooks out of some of my stuff, and this is stuff that's already on my book site or the Gift New Testament site, thebible.feather.net. But I think ebooks might work for a lot of people. You can always get an app on whatever device you have to read an ebook. And I'm finding out it's fairly easy to make a Kindle version as well, but it wouldn't be in the Kindle store. You could get it for free. I have a downloads place that I've given out a link to a few people just to see if it works. It depends on the device. Let's see. ISIS Desert. Yeah, they could be destroying things. I think that's what you're getting at, destroying evidence over there. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the Smithsonian supposedly has skeletons of giants in the catacombs of their buildings somewhere. But again, in the grand scheme of things, whatever, the whole earth and everything in it will be destroyed eventually, and God will restore whatever needs to be known. So thinking more in terms of eternity, I'm not too worried about it. Just knowing, that if you're trusting God to tell you what you need to know, then you do your due diligence in finding it, because he's not going to spoon feed you, then, I'm not too worried about anything else. But I'm sure that it isn't just ISIS is, pick and label who is destroying the past. I've also heard that there's that sort of thing going on up in the Andes Mountains, South America, a lot of those ancient sites, that evidence has been systematically moved away from the public eye for whatever reason. And again, I wouldn't be surprised. The thing is that this, the world has been destroyed before, it'll be destroyed again, and people just are basically like the nation of Israel in the old times when they were, leaving Egypt, and they saw these miracles the seven plagues, and then they saw the pillar of cloud by day and fire by night, and walked across the Red Sea on dry ground, and then again later across the Jordan River on dry ground, and they're all like, nah, let's worship these golden calves and go back to Egypt. And the world is like that. I mean, people just are live in the moment, and for the most part, and don't really care about anything but what's going on today and whether they, have a reasonably comfortable lifestyle. So I don't know. Anyway, sorry, I just can't get that out of my throat. It's been a lot of sinus pressure the last couple weeks, so whether it's been rainy or not, but it's rainy now. Anyhow, I just looked around for some place to hang out and didn't really see much. So I said, well, you know what? I can run a slideshow of one of this year's nature photos. Romans, the sin within. Yeah. Romans 1 is all about people are without excuse for knowing there's a creator. And so God says, okay, you don't have any use for me, then I don't have any use for you. Here you go. Have fun, reaping the consequences of your actions. And people are always like that. They ignore God when things are going well, but when things go bad, they're mad at God for not helping them. So, hey, all people, yeah, this is also hay fever season, although I haven't been real bad as far as the usual itching and, runny eyes and stuff, but the pressure's just been really high. Yeah, I hope that's real soon. I don't have much use for this life, that's for sure. Do what I can when I'm here. But right now I'm just kind of, doing various projects because I seem to be between things online or maybe done with things online. I don't know. I haven't done any hangouts for a couple of days because I don't really have a topic. Kind of sleepy. Other than the usual, like I said when I started, just people like to talk about the Bible, but they don't want to hear what the Bible itself actually says about itself. Anonymous guest, thanks for coming. It's really not any more exciting there than it is on any other hangout right now that I was trying to find something to do, just listening to music mostly, or reading one particular. I read Zero Hedge online for news, but even that, it's like doom porn. Everything is terrible. Everything's going to collapse, and it will, but you know what? What are we going to do about it? So, and I've got the fancy camera last year, took a bunch of pictures of the moon. I have hundreds of pictures of the moon and sun, and there haven't been any spots for the longest time in the sun, so it's like, well, I sit in my backyard and take pictures of whatever wanders through. That particular cardinal, I think, had something wrong with it. It's missing all the feathers from its head. It's got kind of a hump back. I don't know. It just looked sickly. It sounded fine. And the beak is intact, so it can eat and it can fly, but there's something really wrong with that cardinal. You can't hear or see? Okay. Sorry about. Well, I guess I'll type in the chat then. Okay. Yeah, I'm just rambling. That, of course, is a goldfinch. Very, very pretty bird. They have a nice song also. Good. I'm glad it's just, I'm sorry it's the one person can't hear or see, but I'm glad other people can. Those are sparrows or finches of some sort. Yeah, I don't know what the problem would be with the audio. You can't see video either. You can't see the slideshow. Of course, I don't even know if you can hear me, but anyway, anything you want to talk about? That is, I think, that Carolina Wren. It took forever to find out. Oh, okay. Yeah, you must be having really slow bandwidth. I could try to slow these down. I'll slow down the pictures. Maybe you'll be able to catch one once in a while. So, any topics you guys want me to do sometime? Or, satellite connection, yeah. We long ago used to get quote-unquote satellite TV, and it was never as good as the digital antenna we put on our roof. Crystal clear signal, all kinds of weather, way better than so-called satellite TV. You just don't get many channels, but who cares? There's a hole in the ISS. Yep, I've heard about that. I've heard some people say it was sabotage. There's this scenario I was kind of thinking of when I heard about that is, a few days ago, Russia announced that they're no longer going to ferry U.S. astronauts to and from the ISS. I forget when that runs out. So I wonder if somebody might have sabotaged it so that nobody gets to go to the ISS if we can't go. I wouldn't put it past them. So, yeah, and then who knows if there's really a hole there or whether they just really want to shuttle the whole ISS scam and are making up a cover story. And maybe that's what Russia's doing too. Their part is to say we're not shuttling U.S. astronauts, and nobody would know if, once they stop doing that, supposedly, that just plugging a hole of their own, that they don't have to explain who went where. So who knows what's really going on. Yeah, if there is really a hole in a really ISS, I can think of all kinds of motivations for that. Hole at the North Pole. That reminds me of back when they were worrying about that hole in the ozone layer, and I thought, well, you know what? It's at the South Pole where hardly anybody is. Nothing but ice and penguins and a couple of scientists, and that's where the hole in the ozone is, and gosh, we can't have spray aerosols anymore because of that. That was the stupidest thing I could think of. I mean, trust the priest in white lab coats. This is really, you can't have spray on deodorant or anything like that because there's a hole in the ozone at the South Pole where nobody lives. So who knows? But you can speculate endlessly and never come to any conclusion, which seems to be what the conspiracy realm wants. You can seek truth, but you're not allowed to find it, or you're arrogant. I've mentioned that before. But yeah, exit strategy, that's a good term for it. I think they may be working to do away with a space station. And there used to be, getting into other areas like, prophecy, dreams, and visions people would have years ago, back when the shuttle program was allegedly still running. And they would have these dreams and visions that there was a meteor shower or something that hit the space station, and the escape pod supposedly looks like a space shuttle, only smaller. And in their vision, they saw that this shuttlecraft was damaged trying to get people off the station, and the part of the moon broke off, and all sorts of things. I just haven't been able to put much stock in those dreams and visions because they're conflicting and they never come true. So let's see. Oh, okay. All right. Sorry about that. I will type in the chat. Um, so yeah, these pictures are from my backyard, and supposedly this month is supposed to the weather's supposed to get a little bit cooler in a day or two, but it's very rainy also this week. But conditions supposedly for nice fall colors are, I think, a wet summer and a dry fall, which I don't think conditions have been good for that, but we'll see. So maybe I can get some pictures before it gets really cold this year, which usually, I mean, it doesn't really get too cold to go out and, with a camera until like maybe December. So, yep, I'm just kind of wasting time and watching bird pictures. Anything else going on that might be of interest? Tonight on YouTube or anything? Or topics, like I said, that I could do research on and do a video sometime, whatever. But if I were to either update the Gift New Testament or kind of make a different version that's less strict on following strict guidelines of translation and more on how I understand the point being made, which would be, it's still not a paraphrase. It would be more on the commentary end. But I already have a commentary, so I don't know. Just trying to think of ideas. But I'll probably shut down about 15 minutes or so, just because, like I said, I'm just killing time. Yep, that poor cardinal, I don't know what happened to it, if it was just born that way or something, like I said, a disease or injury. I don't know. But as far as I can tell, birds aren't too aware of their condition unless they're really in pain, when that one didn't seem to be. So, and the problem with Christian Hangouts is there's some people with wrenches who just ban me on the spot because they don't like me. So, and the owners don't know it and don't care. But they tend to be Hebrew Roots channels, I've noticed, or King James only channels. So I guess no loss. And yes, that cardinal, absolutely. Hey, Truth Freeze, good to see ya. Yeah, the P900 takes some nice pictures. I'm hoping someday to afford a tripod with motorized control. Would make it a lot easier to track, maybe get some still shots of planets or the sun and moon, because they are moving too fast at high zoom to really track it. So I take videos, but you can't get a good still shot. And they go out of the frame so fast. One thing I don't know that, you've heard of the lunar wave of Crow 777. Supposedly, because I've never seen this wave as much as I've looked at the moon, and why it doesn't happen to the sun, or maybe it does, I don't know, but supposedly his theory is that these waves happen at the equinoxes. Yeah, planet meaning wanderer. I don't use it in the standard cosmology sense. I use planet as that's the Greek word for wanderer, so it's a wandering star, lights in the sky. Anyway, Crow 777 and the lunar wave, he thinks that these happen during equinoxes, and the reason he thinks they happen is because he thinks that the sun and moon go through portals at those times. I don't know why they would only go through portals if they were doing that at equinoxes and not every day, So I don't know, it's kind of a off the wall theory, but it's never bad to be looking at the sun and moon on equinoxes anyhow. You know, you never know what you'll see. But, yep, planet means wanderer. And as much as I've been able to zoom on, like, Jupiter and Venus and Mars, there's just not much in the way to tell you anything about it that other than it's a circle with some features you can identify. Saturn with its ring, you really can't tell if it's three-dimensional. I mean, you can tell there's rings, but as they used to call it, the winged planet, not the ringed planet, but the winged planet, because, you know, of course, they didn't have telescopes as far as we know, that's what it looks like. But you can't tell through a telescope or camera, which doesn't have depth perception, whether it's actually 3D, whether the ring goes in front of behind or not. You really can't tell. But I'm supposed somebody with a better optics could, you know, get a good look at it. But even so, unless you have a stereo telescope, still going to be pretty hard to tell. Anyway, that's all I know is there are lights in the sky with certain features, and the wanderers have more features than the stars, except the stars have colors, and they flash, which is why they twinkle, and why the planets don't. There's no people used to say, all the years growing up, that you can tell a planet from a star by whether or not it twinkles, and I'm like, wait a minute, all the lights are coming through our atmosphere, so why don't they all twinkle the same? Because if you're in a given little spot and looking at the sky, you know, and you as a human are, you know, very small compared to the sky, and any waving going on because of the atmosphere would be localized and would only affect the stars and planets in your field of view. So why wouldn't they all shimmer the same or twinkle the same? And the fact is that planets never do that. They never flash, like Sirius, especially in the winter. Really bright blue, red, like a strobe light almost. Just spectacular. You know, with the unaided eye, you can see this blue-red flashing, and it's just defies all reason. You know, why is it that stars flash? Why do they pulse? And planets don't. Something fundamentally different about them. So, and that's all I know. And of course, eclipses will probably remain a mystery forever as long as we're on the Earth in our mortal form. It's one of those question and answer things I'd like to spend eternity finding out. Is, you know, every little thing that was a mystery or a dispute. Okay, what are the official answers? Because I think there's no point in going through all the things this life, you know, human history has gone through and not have all the questions answered. I think that would be only fair. But other than that, I've been dietary wise, I can't seem to get away from needing like raisin nut bran for breakfast to keep regular, and then lunch has been 5 days a week. It's been a smoothie, mainly fruit, bananas, pineapples to get some enzymes and potassium and things like that. Dark cherries, blueberries, let's see, strawberries, and some peanuts and milk and hemp powder for amino acids, and I put those all on a smoothie. I don't do well with flax seeds for some reason, at least in the smoothie or in any kind of quantity. I can put it on my salad, but just seemed to be making headaches bad with putting it in the smoothie. I tried putting the, what was that, black seed oil. It's to me a chili seasoning and in its flavor, and I can't really mix it with anything else. It just doesn't work for me. But like I said, I think on another video I mentioned that when it gets to be wintertime, I'll probably be having more chili, and I can put it in that. So, I don't know. I'll probably stop the stream because I'm just wandering, just killing time. But thanks for coming. See you later.